motherfuckers. It is AO Storm, and it's time for another Etiquette For Aholes podcast. Podcast where we talk about a-holes. Straightforward, cut and dry. There you go. We got a bit of a doozy today. It's been out of the news for a little bit, but nonetheless relevant, and to me is an unsettled argument. So good spot to take a look at things. But before we get into that, always fun to point out that you don't hear any ads, you don't hear any sponsors, and that's on purpose because we just want to talk to you and have you listen to us and have a community. Go back and forth, tweet us, share what's going on, what drives us crazy. And again, like I always say, the only ad, go buy the book. It's at Amazon, Etiquette For Aholes. That's it, that's the ad. Go buy it, have a laugh. Find yourself something to do while you're going to the bathroom. It's a great time. How's that for a ringing endorsement? So without further ado, man, let's talk about something super exciting to most people. Not really, although people are wildly passionate about it. Let's talk about vaccines, huh? There's a good one that kind of came out of nowhere as a real polarizing topic that could possibly doom us all. Let's get into it. I'm going to just right off the bat, you know what? The anti-vaxxer people, you're a-holes. It's that simple. You're a-holes. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why you're a-holes. First of all, I'm going to say, I get it. I get what you're trying to do in theory, and certainly feels like there's some logic behind it, but I'm going to go ahead and drill down to what I think is going on. It's you people against vaccines really just have an inherent distrust of government and authority, combined with a bit of a smug attitude that you know better than everybody else, and you're hiding behind a curtain of children, and when that fails, you add another layer of religion and religious exemption to get out of vaccinating your children. What the fuck? Come on. Okay. Go ahead. Be skeptical of your government. You should be, and big pharma and, the drug companies and them being in bed together. That's fine. A healthy degree of skepticism makes total sense. Be vigilant about the health of your children. That also makes complete sense. But that ugly couple got together and had one hell of an ugly baby, and that baby is the anti-vaccine movement, because it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, you argue that, well, there's forced chemicals, and we don't know, and autism, which it's causing autism. First of all, let's just get the blonde elephant out of the room, deal with that right away. Do you really want to hitch your wagon for your personal crusade that alienates relationships with people to Jenny McCarthy, to the co-host of Singled Out? You picked the wrong horse. That's like betting on the other guy instead of Keanu with Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Chris Hardwick has gone on to be fairly successful. Jenny McCarthy, sure, she's successful and married Jim Carrey and whatnot, but come on. But this isn't about her. But this is about you choosing to believe and throw your hat in the ring with her. Come on. When you tuck your kids in at night, do you go, thank God Jenny McCarthy's out there? She's got it figured out. Anyway, that's derailing this faster than it needed to. Let's really get down to what it is. You're basically making a giant decision about the health of your kids, which by extension affects the health of the rest of us, based on conspiracy theories. Based on some crazy assumption that the world is V for Vendetta, and we're all getting chemicals shot into us by the government to control us, or kill our kids, or the arguments I know are many, but you're betting on conspiracy, and that's a terrible way to raise your kids. It's a terrible way to live in society. It's selfish, and it serves no one, and it's wrong. And as an ironic aside, what's the point of personal universal health care if we're not going to trust the doctors that we're fighting so hard to have access to. You have basically physicians, pediatricians, they've spent their lives getting educated about how to care for children, and you got some crazy parents on WebMD and internet message boards that think they know more than the pediatricians, stridently and aggressively think they know more than the pediatricians, who, if we could just unpeel this onion just a little bit more, we don't live in an era where there's no communication and it's easy to collude and hide things on a massive scale, by the way, across an entire country, where we're all just a lattice of communication lines and people doing investigative journalism and all sorts of stuff to then share their message to the world via Twitter and Facebook and whatever social media it is that you're into. And yet we're going to bet that somehow all of the doctors, all of the pediatricians, all of the scientists signing off on it are in bed with big pharma and the government to perpetuate this, when these people are just parents and and irregular people with some crazy big agenda. That's okay. So there's that. And then it's really just it's really a bad plan. If the plan is to buy the conspiracy, and then make decisions for your children based on that, let's walk it back just a little bit and just kind of really look at things. First of all, vaccines work. They're effective. They do work. Herd immunity is real. It is necessary. It's part of how the vaccines are supposed to work. Herd immunity is when everybody has the vaccine, and that kind of keeps out the virus. But when not everybody has the vaccine, the virus can sneak in, and it makes it less effective. It's all part of the equation. Anti-vaccine science is not, and you can tweet me all you want and cite things, but anyway, let's talk about taking a better tack with our decision-making for how we raise our kids and how we make decisions in general, rather than questioning the super educated and specialized in their education, people that have devoted their lives, the physicians that have devoted their lives to the health of children, versus some light internet reading and conversations you've had. Maybe the real course of action and how you should make this decision should be you use the relevant information out there to select a pediatrician that you trust to make decisions and guide you. And it's okay to, have questions and have conversations with your doctor, but rather, let's go that route. Let's not try to do the research ourselves on vaccines. Let's do the research on the physicians that we trust, who have done way more research on vaccines than you'll ever hope to do while reading your iPhone while you're taking a poop. Let's pick a physician, and then let's aggressively study the information that they provide you about how vaccines work and what to look for, and then really be super diligent about the warning signs to watch for when our children are vaccinated so we can prevent a tragedy from happening. Let's do that. Let's really learn what to do in the next day, week, to keep an eye on to make sure something should go wrong and there is a reaction, that you can protect your child that way. Wouldn't that be a far better use of time than to go the other direction? But no, we don't want to do that because then we're not smarter than our doctor, which is what this all kind of boils down to. But I implore you, let's do that. Research your physician, take their information, monitor your child, and let's avoid having these tragedies, which these tragedies, by the way, make for compelling news that really spook the herd. I agree. When you see a terrible story on Facebook or in the 60 Minutes or anywhere, the local news, you go, God, these vaccines, these are a scourge. But you know what? That's because nobody ever ran a story that said, child vaccinated, doing great. That story doesn't exist. That headline doesn't exist. All you get is now in our lattice of media where we're exposed to stories 24 hours a day, you get nothing but the side effects. the tragic, horrible tales that make for compelling news and simultaneously scare the shit out of you. So you do take the small percentage where vaccines do carry a risk, but the reward is worth it. All you're getting is inundated with stories about when risks, horrible things happened. And that's a tragedy, that's true, but that's the risk of having children. Terrible things happen to children and adults and people of all kinds every single day. Life is nothing but risks. But this is one we can be far better educated about and have a better tact than simply trying to undo what has been some of the single most effective science and social medicine in the history of mankind. I mean, that's it. Is there anything bigger than that? Look, anybody that has kids, or even people that don't have kids, guess what? They don't want to see kids get killed either. Nobody wants to see kids get killed. But trying to argue with educated people that have your child's best interest at heart is a terrible plan. Work with those people, select people that you trust to care for your child, and then monitor your child and know your child to make sure that you keep them safe if you're very concerned about how the vaccine is going to affect them. Do that. Don't stage terrible crusades on the back of a dyed blonde lunatic. I implore you, that's a terrible idea. You're not only hurting potentially your child, you are hurting everybody else. When the rest of the people in the world that aren't as fortunate would kill to have these vaccinations for their children. They would love to have access to this. So think about that. Think about a better path. Because whatever garbage you're going to find on the internet is not the answer. Till tomorrow, thanks for listening. This is A.O. Storm reminding you to be a good person.